Hi.
Hello?
Hi. Is it working on the big screen?
You can see you, it's just the speaker is coming from my laptop for some reason.
Okay, let me turn off my other notifications then so it doesn't get in the way. Hopefully that works.
Okay, let's see. I'm not crazy, right? I'm doing this the way I'm supposed to be doing it. I'm in a room full of millennials.
Hi, guys.
Can you hear her, or is this like really hard to hear? Okay. All right, we'll just play it fast and loose with this then. And
I'll talk really loud.
Yeah, talk really loud so they can see you on the big screen, but oh, just kidding.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, everyone can hear you.
Okay.
You can see them.
I'm the founder of lifestyle blog Honestly Kate and also an on-air style expert for NBC and Fox. I am so excited that Holly invited me to come speak to you guys today. This is the first time I've spoken with a college classroom, so I can't wait to hear your questions and thoughts on everything.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. They have lots of questions that they posted.
This is such an interesting class. I wish I had a class like this when we were at Richmond. Because when I started, I didn't know about anything to do with the blogosphere, which is what I call my little world of work I'm in. And I just didn't know anything about social media related jobs. I kind of started Honestly Kate completely by accident. I was in grad school at the time at a program called William Esper in New York City for theater production. And I, as a hobby, started shadowing Patricia Fields, who's one of my favorite costume designers, and posting on an Instagram account called Honestly Kate that I just made for my friends. And it just took off, and I had no idea. I kind of had to work backwards because I didn't have a business background or background in any social media related business, and had to start my business plan from the back and started going into the business with a plan. So it's definitely been a really interesting ride, bumpy roller coaster at most times. And I'm now 2 years into it, which is really exciting. And I definitely have more of an understanding of how the world works, but it's still developing every single day with new algorithms and new techniques and projects coming up. So it's still a work in progress. Should I go a little more into the start of it?
Yeah, kind of, I guess, how it evolved from, did you have intentions to be this big influencer at the time, or?
Definitely not at all. I wanted to go into either theater or theater production, working behind the scenes in sound design, costume design, light design. That's what I majored in undergrad. I never wanted to be like a Instagram celebrity. That was never my goal. And the fact that you can now make a business on Instagram is still wild to me, even though I'm fully in it. And when I had started, I was posting just for my friends, family, I shared it with my sorority friends at the time and just my closest friends, really. And I was like, I'm posting some looks and costumes I'm putting together. You guys should follow along. It was still private at the time. And one of my friends was like, you should make the account public so that other people can follow you. I made it public, and I was still in school. I still had a year left of grad school. And by the time I made it public, brands started reaching out saying, hey, we'd like to send you clothes for you to post in this outfit, or we'd like to send you beauty products for you to test out for this. And it just really took off from there. And I remember the first time someone offered me money in exchange for a post, I was totally in shock. I didn't even know how to respond to that. They asked me my price. I had no idea what a price for a post would cost. So it was a lot of trial and error, definitely going back and forth between whatever brand I was working with and myself at the time. For the first year and a half, it was just me alone working on Honestly Kate because it was kind of my side hustle. And I was still wanting to go into theater production fully. And by the time I was getting a lot more emails and project collaborations and people wanting to work with me, I decided to take the risk and jump into this full time and see where it went. So that was about a year and a half ago now. And now I have a full team. I have an assistant who's wonderful. I couldn't do anything without her. I have an agent who works at a bigger agency that handles all my contracts and negotiations, because I am not a lawyer and trying to do Trump. I kept missing little in the contracts and trying to work with so many different brands and not realizing that the brands are similar and they don't like when you work with both of them at the same time, and yada yada. It goes, the list goes on forever. But what you do realize is this is truly a corporate business. Even though I don't work in an office, everything about it, I'd say 98% of what I do is on the business side, and 2% is the picture you see on my Instagram.
Sorry, I'm reading. That's
What?
interesting. So it kind of snowballed into this thing that you started as just for yourself, and now you have all of these followers and, you know, people that you didn't just know face to face like you did before.
Exactly.
So I guess from there, when you were developing your brand, do you think you had a target audience in mind that you kind of cater your brand to now, or has that changed since you started? Or kind of how do you develop Honestly Kate? Is that different than Kate B. Sands?
Definitely. So I try to think of Honestly Kate as my persona. Like, that's my work persona. That's the character I created for myself. Because if I personally don't know how people can have a big Instagram account and not also have a private account, because to me, my Honestly Kate account is really for work, and I have my own account which is private just for my friends and family, where I can just show my family, my boyfriend, etc. So I can really keep the two worlds separate. I know that as an influencer learning more about the world, the more that you share your personal life and everything going on in it, the more followers and the more engagement you get. I'm still really on the fence with what I'm comfortable sharing and what I want to keep private. I know that the more I share, the more engagement, the more following, the more partnerships I'll get, but it's still hard because you really are letting go part of your life and leaving it for the public to judge and just out on a platter for everyone, which has been really, that's been the hardest part for me, is figuring out how to navigate that situation. People respond so, like, crazy if I show my boyfriend, if I show my mom, if I show my house and where I live. And, you know, you do, I think, want to still keep some parts private. So that's been a little bit difficult. I'm trying to think the other parts that are difficult. I think what people don't understand, and they think it's a very glamorous job, it's actually probably the least glamorous job there is. Although I do get to dress up and get my makeup done and go to parties, it's all work. So things that I used to think were really fun about dressing up and going to big events, I can't think of them as fun anymore because I just think of them as a work routine. Like, I'm there for work. I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to get drunk or to socialize. Like, I'm there for a reason, which has been hard because usually when you go to big events, you're there to celebrate something or to be with friends or something monumental. And that's definitely shifted. So now, like, my favorite kind of night is staying at home and being on the couch. So that's definitely been a big shift over the past 2 years. And I know that other influencers in the field can definitely relate to that, because you kind of feel like you have to be on all the time. And I still consider myself to be a micro influencer. So people with much bigger followers, I can't even imagine how they must feel, like people stopping them in the streets and so forth.
So I guess going back to when you're talking about the brands, and, you know, some brands don't like each other, you had to figure out how to get paid, compensated for what you're doing? I guess, could you give us a little more background on how you figured out how you should be compensated for those kinds of things, and maybe your first brand experience that went really well and maybe one that went kind of crappy?
Definitely. So since I own my own brand and I have an LLC, and I started that pretty much right when I made my account public, I had to get a lawyer involved and an accountant so that I could set up an LLC. And I think that through that, I had to discover by kind of trial and error what to charge people. I would ask around, I would ask other people I knew in the industry that were working on the brand side, that what people of my following would charge for a post. And because I work for myself, I'm technically still a freelancer. I don't have a job that I get paid every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks. I am paid sporadically by a million different brands instead of working with one company that when you're going to get paid. That's been extremely difficult to navigate because you really have to be careful with your money and careful with the projects you choose and how to monetize your brand. The only time I've ever regretted working with a brand is if they hired me for a certain task and what they wanted maybe wasn't on brand for me. And so it's a little confusing when someone hires you. You think they're hiring you because they like your aesthetic, they like your tone of voice, they like your image, whatever it may be, but then they ask you to do something that's completely off brand. So sorry about that. It's my agent messaging me a million times. But that's definitely been the hardest when it comes to navigating how to monetize your brand, because of course it's a job. You want to make money and you want to make as much money as you can for each month, but you really have to pick and choose what brands you're going to work with carefully, because one brand that might be a huge brand with a huge budget could be completely off brand for you, and it can turn your followers off from your account completely. And I have had that happen. Am I allowed to name the brands? You can tell me.
We won't boycott them. I don't.
Okay. It's nothing like, for example, for one of the brands, I've had 2 major issues with my account where I lost followers dramatically. The first one was when I did a campaign for Spanx. You guys know Spanx. It's an undergarment company that helps to suck everything in and make it smooth if you're wearing a dress, going to a party, anything like that. But they decided that they were going to branch off from that portion of Spanx and start a new portion where they make clothing that does not suction you in. So they started making t-shirts and tops to go under dresses and leather faux leggings. And I did a huge campaign for them, but because they weren't strong enough in their image and their marketing to show that this is their new side of Spanx, it led to really negative comments and for me, and a big drop in my follower account, because they thought I was promoting this like suck it in culture, and I really wasn't at all, and that's not what their product was. But I think on both ends we didn't have a good message that this was a new part of their company. So that was one experience where it's been extremely negative to work with. And another, which doesn't really have to do with a brand, but it's about letting in your personal life and showing your personal life more to your following. I am extremely involved in different philanthropic organizations throughout the country. I have been my whole life, and I haven't really shared until this year the different organizations and how I work with them and so forth, because that's like my main passion. It's not where I make money, but that's my like biggest hobby and passion, and has always been. And so because of my philanthropic effort, I was invited to the White House for the Hanukkah ball, which happens every year regardless of who the president is. And it's not about the president, it's fully about a Hanukkah ball and honoring those that have made a difference in the community. And so I went, and I was really on the fence if I should post about it or not, but I decided to post it because I was honored to be invited. And I think I lost about 4,000 followers that day. And I was extremely disappointed, of course, because I wasn't trying to make any political or religious statement at all. I was trying to stay neutral. I was just saying that I was honored to be there. And it showed me that I have to be careful with what I share from my personal life.
That's really interesting because at first hearing the two things, like A, going to the White House, and B, Spanx, those are both really big named things. So you would think that, oh, this will give me more followers rather than detract followers.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting.
And it's interesting too, because that's, I think, what's hard about this freelance culture I'm in, is you never know how people are going to react to certain things. And by one person reacting negatively to something, it can get a whole domino effect to like all your followers reacting, because this is kind of a takedown culture. So that's been really interesting. Like I had a friend who was proposed to via Instagram, and which was a really exciting moment, and it happened to be on social media, but people took it so negatively and spun it out of control, and this takedown culture really turned into a whole mess for her, and she ended up losing her job because of it, her full-time job, which is not a blogger and working at a really major company. And it just goes to show that you can never be too careful what you post. There's always going to be people that want to take it down. You're always going to disappoint people no matter what. So you kind of just have to learn how to do things that make you happy and just ignore everything else.
Definitely. I feel like I'm dominating the questions, and I know everyone here has a lot of questions. So I might open the floor to some, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I'm going to like lift you up in my laptop so you can see everyone's beautiful faces. But I'll probably just repeat their questions since it's on my computer speaker.
Cool.
Does anyone have any questions?
Wait, do you guys mind if I do a video? Like 5 seconds? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Wait, guys, wave. Hi, guys. This is so exciting. Okay, I put it away. Yeah, so ask away. I'm an open book.
Alexia?
Okay, mine's a little bit similar to something I've already asked, but like, okay, so especially in the beginning, how do you decipher the scam partnerships versus like the real ones, especially with like smaller, not really well-known brands?
Did you hear that? Do you want me to repeat it?
Would you mind repeating it?
Yeah, so Alexia was wondering how you differentiate between scam brands and like legit brands if they're smaller companies, and how you kind of, right? Yeah, when you're starting out, I guess. Yeah, if you've been a part of any scam brands.
Luckily, because I am signed with a big agency now, I don't work with any brands that are phony or scams. It's a little bit easier because by their type of email account, if it says at gmail.com, you know it's a little bit concerning. But if it says at the company's name.com, you know it's a little bit more legit and you can look it up. Not that I've been in any scams or worked or signed contracts with scams, but I have worked with major companies that have gone bankrupt after we worked together that I wasn't able to be paid for, or that have paid months and months and months past when the contract payment is due. So, and it's because of whatever the company is going through. So that's been really difficult to navigate because they're all companies that I love and admire, but you feel the need that you don't want to work with them again because it's messing up your own schedule and your own timeline.
I emailed you through Gmail, so your agent was probably like, who is this girl?
But I knew you.
Okay, any other questions? Maya?
I know in class the other day we were talking about how Instagram is thinking about taking away the likes because of like mental health reasons for other people. How do you think that's gonna affect what you do and kind of?
So this is really interesting because I was just on the Today Show talking about this topic. Well, I think it's a major positive for our community and for this industry because I think that people are gauging their popularity with likes, and I think likes is I don't think there's any reason for likes. I think you should be judged on your platform based on your follower count in relation to your engagement. So who's communicating with you, who's commenting, who's messaging you, who's sharing your photos. And when you have a business account, I can see all the analytics right on the page, no matter what. Like I can go on the back end if a brand asks me and send them exactly what they want to see. I can't make it up. Like, you can't like inflate your analytics, which is really crazy, but you can inflate your likes. You can buy your likes. You can do giveaways that make you get more likes, whatever it may be. So I think from a blogging perspective, it will be really positive within the mental health awareness and mental health industry, because people won't be judging themselves off of how many likes they get. They'll be judging themselves more on their real authentic engagement. And I think it would be a huge step in the right direction for mental health awareness. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I guess as a follow-up though, do you think they're looking at your followers, or are they looking at likes more than followers?
I think if the brand is smart, they're looking at your engagement and your analytics. And if they just care about popularity, then they're looking at your likes. But most brands these days do ask me for very intense analytics and data-driven, like all my data, meaning what ratio of men to female follow me, where are the people that follow me from, how old are they, what are they spending on anything, regardless of what the product is. So the brands that are smart will ask me for a full media kit, and it's really just a one page I have that says all my analytics on one page. And if they are really necessary, I will also want it. I'll also send them a screenshot directly from my Instagram page of my analytics.
Interesting. So again, the glamour melting away. No one wants to be an influencer now.
Well, it's so funny because I have, and trust me, I don't want to make it sound negative, because I'm so happy doing what I'm doing, and I would never want to do anything else, because I feel like the power and the influence I have on this platform, I'm trying to make it very positive and positive for my followers, and I wouldn't want to do it any other way. I just think that it's really important and imperative for people to know what the job is actually like, because so many people ask me about it all the time and ask me about the business side, and people just don't really know the real insight. So I think it's important to teach everyone about it and what really goes on.
No, definitely. That's why we're so happy to have you here, because we would never know the other Katie Sands and the other side of the
I know, it's crazy.
Any other questions? DJ.
What?
Do you know if you've met Rihanna?
If I've met Rihanna, I have not met Rihanna. I have been to her fashion show, been invited, but I have never met her personally. I wish.
He's a boy in love.
You're in love. I mean, she's beautiful. I think everyone's in love with Rihanna.
Yeah, Maggie.
So like in the future, I know some platforms have been like kind of losing like engagement. Like Facebook is more for like the older generation now. How do you think like moving forward with the platform if people try to transfer your followers into your fans?
So
I think the question was Facebook versus Instagram.
So she was talking more so about how, since social media changes all the time in terms of what's popular and, what people are using, talking about how Facebook has kind of phased to an older generation, and now Instagram is the new hot button thing, especially for visual advertising. So Maggie was wondering how you think you would transition what you're doing now on Instagram if, something major else happened.
Yes. Well, this is something I tell everybody who has any type of passion and wants to share it on social media. Make sure you own your own website and pay it off monthly and have your own domain where all your content lives. I'm like guilty of this myself. I sometimes am so late to uploading my current content that's on my Instagram, but it's extremely important because it's true. Instagram could go away tomorrow and then you'd be screwed because you wouldn't have any place for your content to live. And it's also super important to know that anyone who's on Instagram, anyone who's on Facebook and Instagram own everything you put on Facebook and Instagram, no matter if you delete it, no matter if it was posted years ago and was deleted. So I think it's extremely important that if it does transition or if something new comes up that's the new Instagram, it's important to have your own domain that you own yourself, because that's an easier way to transition your content to the new platform, because it could very much happen. Trust me, I know people that have been hacked on Instagram. I know people that Instagram just deleted. It is still just an app, and I think we forget that. It's not something that is forever, and it's something that's always ever growing and ever evolving, and it could change and become something that we're not used to in a few years.
Definitely. My Instagram got hacked by Russia. I told them that. But I'm not.
Yeah, my Instagram got hacked really badly, and it was very bad. I had to go to Instagram office. They were sending inappropriate messages to brands I was working with, provocative pictures of other people. It was really bad. So I learned my lesson the hard way, is always post as much content as you can on your own site and put a 2-factor authentication on your account.
Definitely. These questions are great. Keep them coming. Fun. Y'all posted too. Yeah, Katie. Yeah, so Katie wants to know like what your favorite or a really cool opportunity that you've gotten to experience as your status as an influencer, maybe a little bit about Fashion Week or whatever your favorite opportunity you've gotten.
Sure. There's so many. Okay, I'm trying to think about I don't know if I can pick one, but Fashion Week has been really incredible because I'm still a freelancer. I'm really working just me and my team. And so I'm not really with all the people in the fashion or in the beauty industry all the time. And so during Fashion Week, it's really a time where everybody from both industries comes together and is together for one full week. It's like adult summer camp. So you're meeting people that you look up to and that you followed forever, and you're sitting with them and you're conversing with them about what the trends are and the shows are. That's been really exciting. I got to work on an amazing campaign with Drew Barrymore this year for the launch of her company Flower Beauty, which is sold at Walmart and on her site, and it launches, I think, in November. So that was really exciting because I've been a fan of hers since I was born, probably because of E.T., and she was so wonderful to work with, and it was just so amazing that I can mix what I'm doing into what she's doing, someone I've watched and grown up listening to forever. So that was a really exciting project that we got to work on together.
So no Rihanna, but we got Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good question. So the question was, what are some influencers that you look up to that you kind of model your brand after, or that you think are doing really smart things?
Oh my God, there's so many, but let me think. I guess he's not really a fashion influencer, but Jay Shetty is definitely my favorite account to follow. I think he was originally a psychiatrist, then he started posting on Instagram and he reached a much bigger audience, and he just posts really inspirational quotes, and he posts like interviews with people that I find extremely inspirational. So in the mental health saga of the blogosphere, he is definitely my favorite person to follow. I think there's so many fashion influencers, including Ariel Chernas of Something Navy, Blank Itinerary, Chiara Ferragani, that are really paving the way for the fashion bloggers of the world, because they are now starting their own lines and bringing retail back again, and showing that for something that has been really slow and like not working for a long time, in-store retail stores, they're really bringing it back by collaborating with different department stores. And I think that's a really big step in a fabulous direction that I would eventually love to take. For the beauty and food bloggers, I think that wellness has been has had a huge impact on this world. I think everyone is into this whole wellness phase, which is amazing, because it really incorporates everything from beauty to fashion, with not working with sustainable, non-toxic brands, to mental health. And I think there's so many amazing wellness bloggers, including Melissa Wood Health, who else? The account Say Hello Wellness, that just I don't know. I like to follow accounts that inspire me and that make me want to do better with my account in general. So it's fun to follow them. I can give you guys a list of my favorites. I can email it to you, and so you can give it to them.
Yeah, I'll post it for you. Give them a little challenge. So I guess along those lines, what's next for Honestly Kate? What's your big
So what's next is that I just worked on a really exciting YouTube, sorry, not YouTube, I wish, but Yahoo video for Yahoo Finance, which will be where I interview different millennial entrepreneurs and Gen Z entrepreneurs about how they started their business without a business background. So that will be really exciting because I've always wanted to move more into the TV entertainment world. And we'll see. I hope to do more TV. I think that as an influencer who focuses primarily on beauty and fashion, it's hard to really dive into the world of on-camera work because people are so used to having editorial high-res images. But I think that the more relatable and the more you can show your followers that you're a real person, I think the better your account will be. So I'm really trying to steer away from that and post more like in the moment work that I'm doing as opposed to edited shots on a camera. And more TV. I'm trying to think what else. I am doing a really big beauty campaign with this company, First Aid Beauty, which is a non-toxic beauty brand. And we're doing like a big birthday party for their 20th anniversary.
Awesome. Any final questions for Kate? Do you have any closing things you want these young future influencer?
Yeah, I think that just go for it. I feel like this industry is not too, there's no industry that's too saturated for anyone that wants to be in it. I really find that if you have a passion and you have your own view on a topic, that you should share it and put it on a social media platform, because you never know who's going to relate to it and who's going to want to follow, and really just try to be something for someone instead of trying to spread your wings too thin and be something for everyone. And just go for it. I never thought this was going to be my career, and I always had a passion for costume design and beauty and styling, and I just decided one day to post about it, and this is where I am. So I think that for everyone, there is room, and people always are looking for new faces.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of your time. I know you're busy, but can we get a thank you from everyone or a clap?
Thanks, Jen. And if you have any other questions that maybe you didn't want to ask in front of the class or whatever, feel free to email me. Usually takes me a few days to get back, but I will get back. And looking forward to hearing from what you guys do next.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I can compile any questions they have and just send it to you. And then I want to get you some K-State gear for talking on here. So I'll talk to you about that, and then maybe I'll post it on social media and get some more Wildcats here. But thank you so much, Kate. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was such a treat for me. I hope you guys enjoy. You have the best teacher. She's the coolest. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much. Bye. All right. Wow, we did it. Because I was so nervous.